But yeah, it was unexpected. Someone from the government even said it was like a planned surgical strike because we did not want anyone getting to know about this.
Yeah.
In a way, pleasantly surprised that all the representations that we did actually had an impact.
I'm super happy that the segregation has been done. Kind of unhappy with a blanket ban on these companies.
I've seen that happen in my family. I'm sure all of us founders, in some sense, would have got that question. Did you get taxed at 28%? Is your company getting banned? Right? And I wanted this to be on the Vaibhav Chavan podcast because a lot of gamers and indie watch this.
Cool. Lot of things have been said and done in the last 1 week on the online gaming ban, gaming versus online gaming, whatever it is. Let's just take a moment and discuss what really happened and why all of that has happened. I also want to discuss a bit of the problems that the pure play game studios faced earlier. So with me, we have Harish from Outlier Games. He's been actively involved in a lot of conversations with the government as well on this topic. So I think we can shed some light on all of these things which are kind of chaotic because it happened all of a sudden, right? So yeah, Harish, go ahead, give your take on this, man.
Sure. I'll start with introducing myself because I'm a very small indie guy in the corner. So I run this studio called Outlier Games, where we focus on making games for PC and console. We are working on a first-person narrative adventure title. Outside of that, I do a lot of consulting, freelancing stuff, and also involved in consulting the government on policy stuff. So that's how it all came about. But yeah, it was unexpected. Someone from the government even said it was like a planned surgical strike because we did not want anyone getting to know about this.
Yeah.
And I can see why, because every time when something like this happens, it gets litigated in the courts. Takes up a lot of time for the bureaucrats, politicians, and the courts. So they wanted to keep it very silent, I guess.
Yeah.
Very shocking and surprising, but I guess the writing was on the wall, I suppose. At some point, it would have happened, but I think all of us were, in a way, pleasantly surprised that all the representations that we did actually had an impact.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. And I think it took us like 2 years to
Yeah.
discuss all of these things, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, before we get into the details of it, like let's just start from the basics. And what exactly was the problem? Can we discuss on the segregation of the gaming companies first, so that we understand the problem and then get into it?
Sure. To kind of like put it very in like layman terms, right? So oftentimes the gamers in India, they would have come across headlines saying game of skill, game of chance, right? The government very quickly understood the skill chance is like a rabbit hole, in the sense that the idea was, if the winning of money from a game depends on your skills, it should not be categorized as gambling, is the prevailing sentiment with this segment of business. If there's not if a lot of skill is not involved, then it should be considered chance game, which is betting and gambling, right? But the problem is, there is no statistical mathematical model to kind of like prove what is a skill game, what is a chance game.
Which is true, yeah. And that is a kind of a gray area.
And whenever courts want to decide on something, they work on something called interpretation, as in, how did we decide something in the past? Based on that, I would interpret the present case, right? So far back when Bombay was a state of its own, right? Like in 1950s.
Yeah.
There was a court case in which they decided some entrepreneur had a crossword puzzle game. And then Bombay presidency wanted to tax it, and then he went to the Supreme Court saying, well, wordplay puzzle is like a very skill kind of a thing, it cannot be considered gambling, and then he won the case.
Okay.
So it was based on that courts were interpreting that, okay, this should be game of skill, game of chance. But the problem was always there, right?
Yeah.
That is problem number one. Second problem was, Um, in India, we have a federal structure wherein some parts of it is the domain of the union government, some are the state government, and some are shared responsibilities between union and the state, right? So what they do is they very clearly mention if it is betting and gambling, it is the domain of state government. If it is anything to do with internet, or let's say if it is considered skill games, it should be the domain of central government.
Okay.
So a very perfect loophole,
Yeah.
right? You can see how they
Yeah.
go back and forth,
True.
right? So these things, and the third and the biggest, which we discussed a couple of days back in our founders WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah.
Nobody guessed. Someone could load money into their game wallet, in,
Yeah.
let's say these RMG companies, deliberately lose to someone,
Yeah.
and money launder the money away to them.
Got it.
And it is a method that cannot be easily traced also. I mean, can be traced, but it will take longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the problems.
Yeah. No, so these are like there were a lot of loopholes for sure.
Yeah.
But let's let's talk about what do we have in India right now? What are the kind of companies that we have in India on a top level, like the segregation of these companies, so that because one big problem that we've been facing as pure play gaming companies for a long time is every time there is a tax issue, like a tax regulation thing, we get involved into that unnecessarily, right? We get dragged into that. Every time there is, we also face that issue when we wanted to bring in some outward remittance,
Yes.
an inward remittance. The banks literally told us that you are from the gambling section, so we can't do that,
Yeah.
and we had to take like another 2 months to kind of start like a new forex account to get that money in, right?
SEMA license and everything.
Yeah. So what? Let's just first segregate the kind of companies, like, or on a top level.
Sure, sure. So we have video game companies, which is us.
Yeah.
Uh, Within that, we have premium studios like ours, F2P, free to play game studios. And then there is the real money gaming companies, which operate from India. And because of that, they need to abide by the Indian law and regulation.
Yeah.
And then there is offshore betting gambling companies, which operate from some island nation where everything goes, the rules are very lenient.
Yeah.
And government doesn't have a lot of enforcement capability. They can only block the domain. Apart from that, they can't chase after them, nothing. So broadly, these are the three areas. I mean, esports is also there. Esport tournament organizers, esport teams, right? So yeah, broadly we have these 4 to 5 different entities here, and government anyway cannot do anything about offshore betting gambling except for blocking the domain.
Yeah.
So for them, the next way of regulating, because they saw the court cases or the consumer grievance, and they saw the same problems existing whether it is onshore or offshore. So that was another reason for them to kind of like go after this ban. So while RMG is banned, offshore is anyway kind of technically banned. Good thing is they want to promote us, right? Video
Yeah.
games and esports.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are in a top level. Those are
Yeah. So there's much to be spoken in the middle,
yeah,
and I want to get into the details of that. But let's talk about what has happened now. What is the decision that has been made? Because that's that really connects to what you said, that government is now willing to support the social casual pure play games and esports as well, right? So what has really happened? What is the verdict that the government has given?
sure. The most headline attractive kind of a thing is they banned RMG and they want to promote video games and esports.
Okay.
That being the very high level stuff, right? So underneath that, there are some interesting things for us in the business, which is in Tamil Nadu, we had something called Tamil Nadu Online Gaming Authority, right?
Okay.
It is a government statutory body which wanted to kind of like regulate RMG, and but then they did not understand the difference, so they also wanted to regulate video games. But we got it sorted out now. It's not a problem anymore in Tamil Nadu. But central government is also telling they want to have a statutory body like this in the central government, which will do a couple of things. like uh, they, let's say for example ESRB and PEGI is there, right, which is not for profit private institutions. But then if you look at countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, or even Australia for that matter,
Yeah.
these are government bodies, not private, not for profit.
Got it.
So one of the things they say is they want to promote video games, which is to say they are looking to kind of like explore, is it worth it to have a India centric age ratings?
Okay.
But I think it's a bad idea because the market is too small.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be too premature to have like India specific age rating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one is that wherein they want to see if we could do like a CBFC type content classification. But more than that, they also want to figure out, too many game companies are there, too many game releases are there. We want to come in and kind of like uh, figure out or certificate who is developing a non-money game, who is developing a money game, and then promote or block it accordingly.
Okay.
So this, I think, going forward, there is some structure wherein we don't have to worry which ministry, which government department. There'll be like single point of contact for us.
Yeah.
All of our grievance or anything that we have in terms of suggestion will be towards one very pointed source,
Got it.
right? So that promotes ease of doing business. But yeah, I'll get more into detail why the age rating is bad at the moment for India.
Yeah.
But yeah, broadly, these are things that they're envisioning.
Got it. Got it. Now, what I read in in everything that has come out, right?
Yeah.
I see two major things, right? One is first the segregation, that the
Yeah.
clear segregation has been done, which is something that all of us were really trying our best to get it done from the government for the last 2 3 years.
Hmm.
We also did multiple petitions.
Yeah.
I think around 70 80 studios
Yes.
signed a document which was submitted, and all of that happened, right? So
Yeah.
I think that really helped for sure.
Yes.
Because as far as I remember, 2 3 years back, when I think more than 3 years, when we went to
Yes.
Delhi and we spoke to the government folks, they
Yeah.
had no idea about
Yeah.
the segregation, about gaming versus all of this, what is happening,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right? So two things that I really read out from what has come out is the segregation, which is a great thing that has happened, and let's talk about one at a time, like both the things, right? But get into details of each. So segregation is number one, and number two that I read is the ban of all of these
Yes.
things, right? Now, for me, I would like, this is just my personal thought. I'm super happy that the segregation has been done. The understanding is now clear, and probably little less roadblocks for the companies like us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am a little bit kind of unhappy with a blanket ban on these companies, because I think there are multiple reasons for that, and we'll talk about that in that section. But
Sure.
let's first talk about the segregation that has been done, and how does that positively impact the gaming industry.
Sure. I think the first one is when we look at how news is being reported, right, on the internet or on the newspaper,
Yeah,
they always have this very broad term, online games. The cover image will be that of either a video game or an esports tournament.
yeah,
But then everything covered in the article will be about some real money games or some betting app,
true.
right? That conflation or like throwing under the bus aspect of video games and esports will not happen anymore, which I think will also gradually down the line will lead to legitimization of our industry,
Yeah,
in the sense that parents and relatives will be like, "तो क्या betting बना रहा है क्या? Betting company बना रहा है क्या?" Because I've seen that happen in my family. I'm sure all of us founders, in some sense, would have got that question: did you get taxed at 28%? Is your
yeah.
company getting banned? Right.
Hmm.
So I think that conflation will not happen and legitimization will kick in. And that's a win because gaming already has some friction in our society.
Yeah.
People think it's just like a time waste, time pass kind of a thing. But I think as we millennials are getting into parenthood,
Yeah.
that is slowly getting phased away. But we may still have to live with it for another 5 years. So I think this is a welcome move, right?
Yeah.
So that's with regards to segregation, and it also puts us in a good light with the global international community, right?
Yeah.
Because even they also would not be confused what Indian government is doing anymore.
True.
One is that, and but I would say this in terms of segregation. I've just written an article on this topic. It went live on ABP news channel,
Yeah.
which is the category that they have given us is called online social games, right?
Okay.
So what I was talking about in that article is social games is like a subset of a video game,
Yeah.
right? Like a multiplayer game is a social game. Single
Yeah.
player is not. So what I was saying is it would be better if we get classified as video games rather than like a subset title as the main
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
right? So, but the bill did talk about this point wherein they want to like figure out how to categorize it better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hopeful that we would get the categorization that we are looking for. So that's my 2 cents on the segregation point of view.
Can you also talk about the entire like the events in this entire journey or the process
Oh
that
yeah,
the industry went through in the last 3 4 years, right from our first discussion in Delhi?
sure. Uh, in 2022, June or July, I remember a bunch of us went to Delhi, right? That
Yeah.
was completely unrelated. It was just like government wanted to do some grant initiative for digital games,
Yeah.
right? And they wanted to understand from us what is this about and everything. And that's when some of the people in the government also started, oh, so these are different.
Yeah.
Uh, but then that was less about policy making, more about we want to have like a R&D grant.
Hmm.
Uh, but that's actually my entry point into policy making also.
Yeah.
Uh, the secretary who was uh, looking after that government department, SERB, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Uh,
CRB.
so he just mentioned we have a grant initiative like this in Twitter, and I happen to have a white paper at that point on how government can promote video games in the country.
Hmm.
So I just said, okay, this is the white paper. Please look into it. It may help.
Yeah.
And then he said, well, why don't you come on board and consult us? So that it happened very randomly, right?
Right.
I didn't plan it.
Right.
So from there, I just took that small opening and then I kept increasing it.
Mm.
So after that came the BGMI ban,
Yeah.
where 10 of us, it wasn't a big one,
Yeah.
but 10 of us came together and then we wrote a letter saying, it seems arbitrary to the industry. So can you explain why this was done so that there is clarity, so that we know what to do, what not to do,
Yeah.
right? That wasn't related to RMG side of things, but then something more so for us.
Mm.
And then came the big one, the first big representation. The central government wanted to do something called, so they have something called IT rules,
Mm.
which lays down rules, guidelines, regulations for IT related industry. So in that big law, they wanted to kind of like uh, amend or add a section related to online games and
Mm.
bring some regulations inside. At that point, they kind of like clubbed video games and RMG together because they did not know that it was
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
And then it had like a long list of problems. They thought real money games require certain things like they have to verify the age, which means they have to have Aadhaar based KYC.
Mm.
Because there's a lot of grievances, they need to appoint a grievance redressal officer, compliance officer, and then they need to, on a monthly basis, coordinate with the government. So many things, right?
Right.
Relevant to the RMG, but absolutely unnecessary for video games.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
But it will have a huge operational expenditure impact on us.
Mm.
So for us, it was an existential crisis. So we did a representation. I think 44 studios.
Yeah.
With every representation, it kept increasing.
Yeah.
So that representation was very successful because in June the amendment was there. We did our representation, and in April when the final law came, they removed us.
Mm.
They did not define us, but at least they removed us
You're right.
from the ambit of that particular regulation. And then came the 28% GST the same year, somewhere around August.
Yeah.
Uh, At that point, government did not do anything. We were still in 18%.
Yeah.
RMG got moved to 28%, but then the RMG industry, they started claiming that this is a blow on the entire Indian gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The interpretation was kind of yeah, not right, to be honest.
yeah,
They clubbed us into that issue, right?
yeah. They clubbed us, and then some of our founders in our ecosystem who had international investors, they started getting a lot of calls like, what is happening? Why did 10% tax increase on your industry? And
Yeah.
then they had to explain, but there was no government document to kind of like show as evidence
Yeah.
to those international investors, right? They could only show the the representation that we did
Right.
to explain that these are actually different. They are doing 28% for RMG, not for us.
Right.
So we were then put in a position where we had to do like a uh, look at this. This is the conflation we were talking about. So segregate us and give us these definitions. And then we also propose the definitions.
Right.
And then the last one, I think, came in 2024. This is more so along the lines of the central government is doing AVGC policy. All the state governments are doing AVGC policy. But then here are 10 suggestions from the industry side as to what we think the government can implement, which could positively benefit the video games esports ecosystem. One among them was also the segregation, but then so many other aspects where what kind of incentives can you bring in?
Yeah.
So yeah, these are things that we did, and now we are where we are.
Yeah. All of us just signed it.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, that I think that has impacted a lot in terms of at least the knowledge which was lacking from the government side of how things are working in the industry.
yeah.
That was a bit open and clear. So
It
I
is also
think
a bit shocking. I mean, pleasantly surprising because in 2024 IGDC, a couple of government representatives were there from Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. I was casually speaking to them about our representations, and while I was speaking to them, let's say this is the phone, right?
yeah.
They were just looking at the phone and then they just turn it around. Is this the representation? Are you referring to this? So they had it on their fingertips.
Okay.
They were constantly tracking what we were doing, and it was in their, let's say, random access memory, ready to retrieve at any point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so that's like the proof. It worked.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's talk about the second part, which is kind of, I mean, what's your thought on that? Like,
Yeah.
see, there are like plenty of news about, and we've been reading that since a long time about how this addiction element has kind of come, and then because of that, there was a necessity that something like this should be done. But I was surprised that this was like
Yeah.
a sudden blow to the entire industry, because what I know is I don't remember the latest numbers, but if India made 2000 crores in a year from gaming, I think roughly around 1800 was coming from this industry, from RMG games, right? Which was on one end, it was bad also, but was good also,
Yeah.
to some extent, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's an ecosystem that was being built. It's just that the representation was very, very wrong. And we know that there are plenty of jobs that are online today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is your thought on this?
First thing was look, none of us were in a celebratory mood, right? Because we thought
Yeah,
there could be
absolutely.
a
Yeah.
dancing on the grave aspect to it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got what we wanted, but we still knew it was a lot of livelihood at stake.
Yeah.
So at least we had that kind of like a solidarity, to so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Because that is real. Job loss is going to be real. Maybe not fully 100% because the companies are pivoting to other areas. They will retain employees, but there is still going to be some redundancy and layoff and everything.
True.
So that is the first thing which I think the most direct impact is job loss. Uh, the companies will sustain because I've heard about the kind of PAT that they operate in, profit after tax. So these companies are to a large extent insulated to pivot very nicely. Their reserves are their surplus reserves are too big. So from a company perspective, while it is definitely a shock, and their reserves will go down as they pivot, explore. It may work, it may not work, leading to eventual problems. But at the moment, they are placed in a way that they can reduce the redundancy of employees and still pivot nicely. Uh, but obviously, the more even within RMG, there are some MSME scale RMGs. I mean, for us, I mean, we are like ultra indie, right? Uh, for us, it looks incomprehensible that is there even a MSME scale RMG, but there are, okay, not micro and small, but there are some medium scale RMG companies. So I think they will shut shop entirely, get consolidated, get bought by some bigger player. So that aspect is there. So for in that aspect, maybe not so nice. But from the government's perspective, it makes no difference for a couple of reasons. Uh, so one is, okay, it's been repeated in the news that it's going to be like XYZ number of tax revenue loss, right? Uh, but when we look at it, I think Secretary of MIT put it the right way. He mentioned on one side we have X number of, let's say, tax revenue loss or job loss.
Yeah.
But on the other side, we have these many suicides. So for a government to kind of like prioritize this or that, it became an easy decision, is what they were saying.
Okay.
So from a government's perspective, whether it was like 1,000 jobs and let's say some 10,000 to 20,000 crores GST revenue versus the potential social evil of suicide or like family disorder, it became a easy decision because when you think about the government, 10, 20,000 GST revenue is like a drop in the ocean.
Got it.
It's not a big enough amount to matter. If it mattered, it will only matter in a short term and it will get balanced within 5 years.
Got
Not
it.
even 5 years. Yeah.
Got it. But do you really think that doing this would stop the addiction or even reduce it? Because I feel that people find alternatives.
Yeah.
They
Uh,
obviously find alternatives to whatever they love or they're addicted to, right?
yeah. Yeah. So we could look at it in two ways. Obviously, the offshore betting gambling is still there, right?
Yeah.
It's like these websites are somewhat similar to the adult websites, right? They block one URL and then the URL keeps changing,
Yeah.
right? So people can still access, but the way they operate is they actually go to sometimes celebrities, sometimes the Insta influencers, right? Most of the time, because the audience is skewing mostly towards male, uh, almost exclusively male. The kind of influencers they pick are also like these fashion and glamour models on Instagram.
Yeah.
And the model has evolved, right? Before they used to put like posts on their Instagram page, and because it was getting tracked by law enforcement, they were pivoted towards putting it as story so it cannot be traced.
Okay.
But the thing is, the bill does one thing, which is they are criminalizing the marketing and promotion and endorsement of these, right? So if they find, they are going to slap you with 1 crore worth of fine and 3 years or 5 years worth of jail time.
Okay.
And I think because now they are setting up a dedicated agency to look after this, I think with the muzzle of the Home Affairs Department head by Minister Amit Shah ji and all the other bureaucrats there, I think they'll be on the top of the game, constantly monitoring for these things, and they will. So here's the thing: if you cannot market it in any way, promote and distribute it in any way on the internet, and then it becomes difficult, right?
Yeah.
Not saying it becomes impossible because one of the ways in which these apps travel is not even online. It will be with your pawn shop, tea shop, wherein they would it's kind of like in a way drug peddling,
Yeah.
in the sense that you will get the access to the APK from the streets.
Hmm.
So that I'm not sure how they're going to clamp down on, but at least the online side will get very, very difficult. So it's like this, right? Uh, it's not like people suddenly jump to drugs.
Yeah.
They will get access to alcohol,
Hmm.
and where it will mostly be in pubs, bars, and then they will slowly start hearing that there is also the other side from the social circles there, and then they will move towards there. So in a lot of time it's about access to information, right? So the first form of access in some ways is, let's say they've completely banned RMG now,
Yeah.
and all the marketing is also banned. So the access is getting cut off.
Hmm.
It's getting reduced. So maybe a generation down or 5 years down, the information for this will keep decreasing, right? So over time, we will see a downward trend. It's not like an overnight change where everybody will stop playing it, but I think the degree of users will keep reducing over time.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll gradually. We're hoping that it'll gradually happen. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
I totally relate to this because I've also been approached a couple of times by these companies, say 1 4 bet and all those,
hmm,
and all of these
yeah,
tier 3 YouTubers that they are big on these.
yeah,
Um, every video they'll have this sponsored
yeah,
tag of these things, right? Um, but yeah, I never wanted to do that,
yeah,
but it seems like it's kind of a first step towards that future that we want to build, right?
yeah, yeah.
But
And
how? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
very similar to other countries, right? Because
Yeah,
they don't have anything called skill game, chance games. It's just gambling, and then there's video games. They regulate or prohibit the one and promote the other. So India is also getting into that territory.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But how um like how worth or valid was a blanket ban, or say like I personally feel that even if there was a ban, there there had to be like a pivotal time period or a time frame that has to be given to these companies because they are huge companies,
Yes.
and even like a studio like us, if we want to shift our focus to something else, we'll
Yeah.
definitely need like a month or so to figure that out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also commendable to see that there are random sudden news about how a company like Dream11 just pivoted to a money app so quickly.
See, I
Um,
think they anticipated not the sudden ban, but
yeah,
I think for the last 1 2 years they've been facing problems, right?
yeah,
So it's not like this that a company of that scale in one day can figure out a new business model and pivot there.
which is also true. Yeah,
I think they had their backup options if something does happen, like a Hail Mary, we should have this option. I think they had it prepared.
got it, got it, got it. But yeah, how what's your thought on this sudden blow?
Yeah, I mean, from an idealistic standpoint, I agree, right? Like, some time should be given for them to reassess, pivot, and maybe make the transition smoother because now they have to like hurry and do a lot of things when emotion and tension runs very high, and when those two things run very high, we make mistakes,
Yeah,
right? So, I do agree that some transition period could have given, because now it is criminalized. They just
yeah,
have to sunset their business model entirely. One, which is why a lot of them have stopped their RMG offerings suddenly, the same day or the next day,
yeah,
right? It could have benefited. I do agree, but from where I kind of like look at it from the government's perspective is they kind of like tried doing it for the last 3 years, in ways of not banning but more so regulating, which is in 2023 the first thing that they said is we won't ban you. In fact, at that point, the 28% GST did not also come in. What they said is, we will create in fact, we won't create a regulatory agency. You have your own industry driven regulation agency. They call it SRB, self regulating body, right? like OTTs has one. In America, it is the ESRB, PEGI, and gambling also has equivalent of that in other Western countries.
Yeah.
So government said you form one, register it with the government. We
Hmm.
will have some oversight, but you kind of like take it forward, right? The regulation.
Got it.
But then government got a lot of proposals, and they very quickly realized the industry can twist it to serve their interests. It's kind of like, did you see this movie, The Big Short?
Yeah.
So you know what I'm referring to, right? The
Right.
the
Right.
ratings agency like S&P, Standard and Poor, and Moody's, they can absolutely game the system.
Yeah.
So government very quickly saw through it, and then they were like, "This is very much riggable."
Yeah.
So government did see how they could regulate it, how they can create safeguards, and they tried it for 3 years.
Hmm.
Nothing happened, and on one side they were not able to find a consensus with the industry because it was not possible, and on the other side, whenever they tried to do something, it was okay. Here's the thing, right? The government never likes when someone points fingers to them and saying the government is doing unconstitutional things,
Hmm.
right? A lot of the times these lobby efforts projected it like this is an unconstitutional move.
Yeah.
So that kind of like rubbed the bureaucrats in the wrong way.
Hmm.
So they did not want, at the end of the day, government is very PR sensitive,
Yeah.
right? So when the representation, or let's say the lobby comes from the industry, it is always the headlines in like 40 different news outlets,
Right.
right? So it creates like this image that government is doing something bad.
Hmm.
So they wanted to avoid that aspect, and now you know why it has been done very secretively. Yeah. I
Got
mean,
it.
there's
So
no there's
now,
no good option, I guess.
yeah,
It's
but
like they say in Argo, we only have bad options. It's about taking the best bad option and going with that.
but now I really connect this to the surgical strike that you mentioned in at the start of the
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, cool. Before I just wrap this conversation up, I have some personal doubts, right? Like the two things that I want to ask you.
yeah,
Number one is we've been hearing this ban on websites like uh, Ullu, the content websites, right? Which again the same kind of conversation but in a different
yeah,
medium or a different platform.
yeah.
Even after all of these conversations, why are they still out there, and why haven't the government taken such kind of action on these people yet? Like just go and shut the shops, kind of.
Sure. A lot of them kind of anticipated this and registered their business outside India. So, so they were kind of like safeguarded from that angle. They could provide it through the internet and keep changing the domain ID. So that was like an escape route, because of which these adult themed content apps is still existing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why they are still able to circumvent. Yeah,
And isn't this kind of a another way or a solution for the RMG companies in India?
I think some of them will definitely move to regions like LATAM, where this model is kind of like, or even Africa for that matter, where this model is working. Some of them might even go to the US, where fantasy sports is like kind of big, with basketball, baseball, and things like that. Uh, so they would still try to do it in a legitimized way in these areas, rather than going offshore and still pumping it to India, because that will put them in the wrong light.
Got it.
Uh, yeah,
Got it. Makes sense. Absolutely makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Uh, cool. One last thing.
yeah,
Again, on the same lines,
yeah.
how are casinos working in India?
uh, I'll get to that, and I'll also tell one more thing after the casino thing.
Yeah.
I think casino is there in two places, right? Goa and Sikkim.
Yeah.
Uh, so the idea is, if casino is in a physical space, it's a lot more kind of like easy to regulate, right? Because it exists in a physical space, it can be monitored. The rules can be enforced very easily, because raids can be done, investigations can be done.
Hmm.
So which is why physical businesses are a lot more easier to regulate
Hmm.
because they are in the land, in the jurisdiction of a certain country, right?
Right.
In a sovereign land. So that's why casinos are still permitted, and they do have. It's very easy to enforce, right? Because they can check your ID to see whether you're 21 or not. Uh, so the ease of verifying, ease of regulation is why they let some casinos to exist.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's one side why it's operating, I suppose.
Is
Uh,
it is there also a factor of skill based games versus luck based?
in casino, they don't look into skill versus chance.
Okay.
Casino, they only look at it as gambling,
Okay.
and but then they have like very high standards, like 21 below cannot enter, and there's a lot of other things involved, which casino houses also need to verify because they need to maintain the records, and government will verify and all that.
Got it.
So that's why they are permitted to exist because it's very easy to monitor, track, and investigate. Uh, Perhaps there could be a possibility where I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I heard someone from the RMG industry that there could be a possibility like this, which is Vegas style outlets kind of coming up in few more areas, designated, demarcated areas,
Hmm.
where very strict regulations will be there, but it will be let to operate, kind of a thing. I'm not sure. Again, I heard it from someone in the RMG, but maybe
Okay.
loose.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Got it. What
and
was, yeah, what was the last thing?
last one, and I wanted this to be on the Vaibhav Chavan podcast because a lot of gamers and indie watch this, which is every industry or sector in India, they all come under a registry called National Industrial Classification,
Okay.
right? It is just like kind of like a code or an ID given to an industry
Hmm.
that the government can kind of like verify which industry is doing what activity
Hmm.
and which industry should we give some incentives or rebates or tax holiday for. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like an ID to kind of like identify, segregate, and things like that, right?
Hmm.
So video games and RMG was clubbed into a single ID,
Hmm.
and it is still under the same ID.
Okay.
Right? Now we need to proactively talk to the government and say, now that you have segregated us, create a new category because the old category
Hmm.
is deemed as high risk.
Yeah.
And RMG has issued RBI has issued a circular to all the payment gateway companies and banking
Hmm.
saying if you see a company from this NIC code,
Hmm.
give them hell,
Okay.
right? Which means we can't do remittances, as you said, inward outward remittances. We can't get easy services from banks or payment gateways companies. We will even struggle to open a current account.
Hmm. Got it.
So it is a lot of problem in terms of running a company, and this code has to be changed,
Got it.
right?
Got it.
Otherwise, we have segregation, but what good use is it?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the offshore gambling will still exist,
True.
and we would still be in the same category, same problems will still be there. So indies and should be aware that we still have this problem out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Cool, man. That was a very insightful conversation. I wanted to do this discussion with you because there is a lot of things that people are unaware of,
yeah,
and this gives a clear picture. So
yeah.
thanks a lot
No
for
problem.
joining me on this channel.
No problem.
Thank you.
Always been a fun. This is the second time I'm here. Hopefully, once my game progresses in production, perhaps I'll be there again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
See you,
sure.
man. Bye
Yeah.
bye.